So this is Impulse Tracker, which was the main tool I was using back in the day, and I'm going to go through and show you a little bit about how to use it so you can understand my workflow at the time. And the first thing you do is start off by loading samples before you sequence them, and you would use your computer keyboard to go navigate through your library of samples. In this case, I have some 909 drum machine samples, and you can preview them using the keyboard. And we'll load in a kick and the snare and a couple hi-hats just so you can get an idea of how to do this. And then after that, you go to the step sequencer, which is the really strange part. It throws people for a loop because it looks so different from normal music notation or the piano roll that you'll see on sequencer nowadays. And what you do is you can make your whatever time signature you want, like 4/4, by making it loop at a certain point. So you can put this command in to make it loop here. If you make it loop later, you can turn it into, 5/4, or if you shorten the pattern up, it would be, 7/8 or whatever you want. And then you can go to your sample menu and pick the instrument you want. So we're going to do the kick drum, and in this channel, we're going to lay down some kick drums. And you can't play it real time like you would now on a drum pad or a keyboard. You have to really know what your kind of beat you're trying to build ahead of time. So then we'll add some snares in. And do a little snare fill here at the end, maybe. And we'll load some hi-hats in. And the open hi-hat we'll put in the same channel as the other closed hi-hats, because that will make the closed hi-hats cut out the open ones like they would in real life. And this is probably going to sound pretty horrible, but just to give you an idea of what this sounds like. Yep, that is pretty bad, but that's the way that it was done. And I'll show you a better quality song, and this was made by a guy named Necros, who was one of the top guys in the mod scene back in the day. There were some guys, Skaven, Purple Motion, a group called Future Crew, which was pretty top notch. And you can see in the sample browser, which they've converted into a credits list here, that it was done in 1996, and they actually had some samples from an XP50, which was the Roland XP50, and back then that was like $2,000, and that's money I certainly didn't have. So the samples are a lot more higher quality than what I was generally working with. And I'll play this back so you can get an idea. And you can see the notes are flying by, and that looked just like alien language to me when I first saw it. There's lots of different controls, volume controls there, portamento to note, panning. There's all sorts of different effects. Some of them I didn't even know what they were, even after years of using this program. It was pretty confusing to me. And having no real musical knowledge at the time was even more confusing, and you're limited to just this help menu, which doesn't explain a whole lot. And this was back before the internet was really too useful for most people. There was no YouTube, no tutorials on how to make a dubstep beat in Reason or anything like that, so you were flying solo. If you can decipher this, then you weren't going to make any music, period. So I had to spend lots of time trying to figure out what all this meant on my own. So this song shows the capabilities of what you could do if you had high quality samples and really knew what you were doing, which is really what it comes down to